Tell me if this is you. I want to start an Airbnb, but it's too late now. The market is all done. Well, hold on, let me correct you on that. There are so many ways to enter Airbnb and I'm going to tell you exactly how. Hi everyone, my name is Preksha. I'm an Airbnb super host and in this video, I'm going to tell you how to break into the Airbnb business or the short-term rental business by giving you 5 ways. Now this list is not exhaustive. These are the top 5 ways that I feel are the easiest to get into. I'm also going to run through some rough numbers to help you understand what would be the capital requirement in each of these models and what can be the potential revenue that you can make from it. Also, I would urge you to make notes from this video if you had long thought about starting an Airbnb but don't know how to. That will give you a better clarity. And if this inspires you to start hosting on Airbnb, you can sign up on the platform using my link in the description below. That will give you better incentive. Now let's discuss the 5 models. Now when it comes to Airbnb, the first obvious thought that comes to the mind is renting a house. Now where will this house come from? The first 3 models talk about specifically that. First one being buy, build, operate. In this model, you buy a land, you build a house on that and then you rent it out on Airbnb. Okay, I said it way too simply. Of course, there are nitty-gritties to look at before you get into this model. You need to sort out a few factors. First being the location of the land. That is, where do you want to buy or invest in the land? And there are a few factors that you must consider. The demand for STR, ease of buying the land, cost of buying the land. For example, in Goa itself, there is a huge difference between buying a land in north that can be a bit more expensive vis-a-vis buying a land in south. In places like Dubai, you cannot buy a land. You can just buy a ready-made property. Secondly, you need to sort out the legalities and financing of buying a land. When you are going and purchasing a piece of land, the documents need to be verified thoroughly. What is the plot size? What is the plot plan? Nil income rent certificate? Title search is really important to avoid any kind of confusion later on. For financing these purchases, there are different options that are available. For example, plot loans, which are specifically for buying a land and constructing on it, are given to people, or a construction loan that is offered by all major banks. And the third point to consider while buying a land is to understand what kind of property do you want to build in. Do you want to build a standalone villa, or do you want to construct multiple units, or do you have a bigger vision and want to build a mini resort? A lot of builders have done this in places like Goa or even Bengaluru, where builders have gone, they have built a society and a wing of that society only caters to short-term rental. If we have to quickly talk about pros and cons, in this model, you're not only investing in real estate, but you're buying a land. And conventionally speaking, the value of the land only increases with time since land is a limited resource. Of course, buying a land is not easy. You need to be clear about where you are purchasing. It has a bigger ticket size and it can be time consuming. So if you don't want to buy a land but still want to do Airbnb, you can always do property buying and then run on it, which is our second model. This is typically what most of the people do. They buy a vacation house at a place that they like, and on non-vacation days, they make cash flow from it. Now, financing for buying such a property in India, there are a lot of options. Almost all major banks give you home loan for buying a house where you are required to do a down payment of 10 to 20% depending on the value of your property. Outside India also, there are a lot of options to buy an investment property. For example, in Dubai, there are conventional loans and Islamic loans, where mortgage is specifically used to buy an investment cash flow generating property. In this model also, ensure that the legalities are all sorted out. Title should be clear, you should have a building plan, especially for a place where you are not going to live and you might not even be in the country for that matter. And most importantly, the short-term rental law should be clear. Like I have said in a lot of my videos, that buying a property in a place which has demand for short-term rental can be lucrative, but if your society does not allow, then it doesn't make sense. Now, what are the pros and cons in this model? Well, firstly, you're investing in real estate. That in itself is a big pro. You are looking at asset appreciation, you are looking at diversification in your investment portfolio. The cons are big ticket size, you need a substantial capital amount to buy a property. Real estate is not liquid money. You just cannot take out the money as and when required. And also, seller verification is crucial. Buying from small builders might not be the best idea. Now, the third business model is the rental arbitrage, where you take an apartment or a home on lease and then you sublease it on Airbnb. Now, this model is good for anyone who's not sure whether they want to get into the short-term rental market, which market is suitable, or if you just simply don't have enough funds to buy a house. Now, before people get angry and start commenting that this is illegal, I have made an entire video explaining the ifs and buts and the legality of this model. But this is one of the most common and easiest way to get started with Airbnb, and this is what I am currently doing. Now, your investment can vary according to the type of property you're looking at or the location you are at. For example, I run an Airbnb in South Goa. My lease cost for this 2 BHK apartment was rupees 40k per month, along with which I also had to make a security deposit of 2 months rent. Plus, I also put in a few furniture, hired staff. So all of these things become a part of your investment. In the next video, I'm going to talk about the investment that I did to start my first Airbnb. So do watch that too. Talking about expenses, for running the same 2 BHK, I take an expense of this much every month. This is the entire breakdown. Now, booking at an occupancy that I've explained in my first year on Airbnb video that you can watch after you watch this video. This is the entire revenue breakup that I did in the last year. So I was able to bring a profit ranging from 3k to 30k on average per month. Now, this is not absolute. Your numbers will vary on your expense factors that mostly depends on which location you are operating from. To give you a brief idea, if we just talk about monthly lease, a villa in South Goa will come at rupees 85k per month. That is approximately $1,000 per month. At the same time, a 2 BHK apartment in downtown Dubai, which is near Burj Khalifa, the lease for the same can be 10,000 AED per month. Your other operating expenses and utilities will again depend on your demographies, and even the returns that you will generate will also be dependent on your location. So like we see, there are a lot of variables in this factor. Now let's talk about the pros and cons. The first pro being that if you want to start an Airbnb, this is a low cost effective way to get into the world and also understand how the location might serve for your business. You don't need to buy a house. That saves up a lot of upfront costs. Plus, you will also get the independence of running a business. But where there are pros, there are cons also. The first con in this model being your entire business is dependent on your landlord and the lease that you sign with him. There can be an uncertainty whether that lease will renew or not, and your initial investment can be skeptical because of this reason. And as you can see from my profit breakup also, the numbers only seem lucrative and make sense when you scale. A single property might not generate enough money to make it your primary source of income. The fourth Airbnb business model is house hack. Now, what is house hack? You own and live in a house and you rent out a part of it, maybe an additional bedroom, a guest bedroom, or even your garage space. That is, you're hacking a way to make money off your own house. My family used to do it by renting 2 rooms to tenants. That generated a cash flow of 20k per month. This really helps if you have a mortgage in your head. For instance, if you have an EMI of 30k, getting 20k from just renting out 2 rooms can really help save up a lot of cost. However, if it is done for short term, the yields can be much higher. For instance, when I had to go to Mumbai for an event, I was looking at some of the Airbnb options. Now I found one property and I contacted the host to inquire about it. He told me that he is letting out a room in his own house that he lives in along with his parents. Now that house was a 4 BHK apartment in which he was letting out a room along with an attached bathroom at 2300 rupees per night. Now, if we run some numbers, in Mumbai, if you have a 4 bedrooms house with 4 baths and you have taken a home loan with an EMI of 50k per month and you rent out 1 bedroom for 2300 rupees per night, In 10 days, that can generate a revenue of 23k per month. In a perfect month, that is 30 days of booking, the revenue would be 2300 into 30, approximately 69,000. Now, a lot of you can say that Airbnb cannot have perfect months. You cannot just get 30 days of booking. Well, I have had these perfect months in the last year. A lot of people who I know have perfect months, so that is possible. It depends on your strategies, on your marketing techniques. But even if we take a conservative of 60% occupancy, 69,000 multiplied by 0.6 will come out to be approximately 41,000. That is 41,000 rupees saved from your monthly EMI. I feel this model is perfect for people who don't know where to begin but still have the interest. A lot of people come up to me and talk to me that they want to get into Airbnb but they don't want to buy a house or they don't want to rent another house. I just ask them, like, do you own a house? If yes, do house hack. That is the simplest way. If you talk about the pros and cons, your investment cost in this model can be close to zero since you are already owning a house. The downsides or the cons can be, well, you'll have people going in and out of your house all the time. So a lot of people might not like that. Second apprehension a lot of people face is the safety issue. Well, that can be a reason if you don't vet your guests properly. Now, platforms like Airbnb, they also allow house hack by giving you an option to rent out a room in a house. That is a good way to start with it because Airbnb also provides insurance to the host in case if you feel that things can go wrong. The fifth way of doing Airbnb is don't live in a house, just host it. Well, not really. What I'm trying to say is that you don't have to buy a land, a property, do rental arbitrage, or even rent out your own house space. If you just want to get that Airbnb experience, you can do co-hosting. Now, co-hosting is when you help another host or property owner who's already in the game run and manage their properties. You'll simply have access to their entire listing and can do various tasks such as messaging guests, coordinating with staff, set pricing, manage listings, and anything and everything that goes on in an Airbnb business. Now, this model requires absolutely no money from you to start. In fact, you'll get paid for your services. Now, this payout can be in the range of 15 to 30% as your management fees, which depends on your responsibilities and the tasks that you do. If you provide more support, the management fees will be higher. But if you're just doing basic services, you can charge up to 10 to 15%. For instance, if you're co-hosting in Dubai on a property that generates a gross revenue of $7,000 per month, your payout can be $1,400. This number might not seem a lot, but imagine if you can do this for 5 properties. That will be 14 times 5, $7,000 per month. This might seem crazy, but I know a lot of people that have made crazy amounts of money by just doing co-hosting. In fact, even I got into Airbnb through co-hosting only, where I used to manage a 10-bedroom villa and charge 20% as my professional fees. I made thousands of rupees from it and it was really a wonderful experience. It taught me a lot about hosting, about what guest requires, about guest communication. All of these nuances I was able to pick up from that experience only. But what you need to keep in mind if you really want to co-host is that you need to be a problem solver for the host. That is, you need to take on responsibilities or work on wherever the host would require your help. That is the only reason why any person would even go for a co-host if you are making their lives easier. Now, there are other types of Airbnb business models also that are coming up that are not conventional per se. For instance, glamping is a trend that is picking up both in India as well as abroad. This industry is expected to grow massively owing to the increase in demand in eco-friendly and unique lodging. These type of setups are currently generating 10 to 15k revenue per day in India. That's in rupees. And the luxury ones are even going for 30 to 35k INR per night. Investment would of course be a bit higher, but what I've heard from a lot of people and talking to a lot of hosts who are already running this is that it is mostly a one-time cost and there is a demand for people to go for unique experiences. Similarly, caravanning is another trend that can be encashed to give a unique angle and experience to the guests. That is the most fun part of this business and what I like the most. There's always some way or the other to enter, no matter where you are or how your finances look like. I would love to talk about this more. Let me know what interests you or what would you want me to cover. Also, if you ended up not making notes, don't worry, I have made this free downloadable guide that covers all the points that we discussed in this video. You can download it from the link in the description below. If you found this video to be useful, do give it a like and subscribe to my channel because I will be making more videos on it. And you can connect with me on other platforms such as LinkedIn, Instagram also, and we can talk more about it. You can find the links in the description. See you on the next video.